The battlefield was a landscape of broken metal and burning wreckage. Smoke churned across the rocky terrain of Proxima 9, a distant planet where humanity's frontier wars had turned another alien world into a graveyard of technology and shattered dreams. Private J1 Park moved carefully, his combat suit scraped and torn from hours of intense fighting. The red warning lights on his helmet display flickered: low oxygen, low ammunition, critical systems failing. Around him, the remnants of his platoon had long since been evacuated or destroyed. In the distance, something moved. Not an enemy soldier. Not a combat drone. Something different. He spotted her between two massive chunks of destroyed spacecraft, a small alien figure, barely visible. Her body was unlike anything he had seen before. Iridescent skin that seemed to shift colors with each labored breath, membrane-like structures that might have been wings or protective coverings, now badly damaged. J1 knew the risks. Approaching an unknown alien could trigger hidden defense mechanisms. In this war, every movement could be fatal. But something about her seemed vulnerable. He checked his weapon, a standard-issue plasma rifle with barely enough charge for 2 shots. Then he moved forward, each step calculated and careful. The alien girl was younger than he expected. Perhaps equivalent to a human teenager. Her breathing was shallow, and dark blue liquid, possibly blood, leaked from multiple wounds. Her eyes, large and silvery, were half closed but tracking his movement. She wasn't trying to attack. She was dying. J1's military training ward with his human instinct. Rescue an alien? In the middle of a battlefield? It was insane. The military protocols were clear: engage or evade. Never rescue. But he couldn't leave her. He knelt beside her, activating his emergency medical scanner. The device hummed, struggling to interpret her alien biology. Compatibility was impossible. Her cellular structure was fundamentally different from human physiology. Yet her eyes looked human. Scared. Pleading. "Stay still," J1 whispered, knowing she might not understand human language. "I'm going to help you." His medical kit was designed for human soldiers. Nano-regenerative patches. Blood replacement systems. Emergency stim injectors. None of these were guaranteed to work on an alien species. He made a quick decision. If standard medical protocols wouldn't work, he would use the most basic method possible: direct blood transfer. Quickly, he connected his emergency transfusion line, designed to keep human soldiers alive in critical conditions, directly to his own system. The line would automatically adjust volume and transfer rates. The alien girl watched him. No fear now. Just curiosity. As his blood began flowing through the specialized medical line, something unexpected happened. Where the blood touched her skin, the dark wounds began to change. The blue liquid stopped flowing. The torn membranes started to knit together. Her silvery eyes focused directly on J1. In that moment, 2 entirely different species shared something profound. Not just blood. Not just a moment of survival. But a connection that transcended the brutal war surrounding them. Distant explosions continued. The battle raged on. But here, between burning wreckage and rocky terrain, a human soldier and a wounded alien girl discovered something more important than conflict. A shared chance at survival. J1's last conscious thought before the battlefield's chaos overwhelmed him was simple: "I hope she lives." Then darkness claimed him. The military detention camp sat like a forgotten scar on the edge of human-controlled space. Row after row of bland prefabricated buildings stretched across a barren landscape, surrounded by high electric fences and automated defense systems. Here, soldiers who had been lost, captured, or simply vanished during endless frontier conflicts were processed, forgotten, and left to exist in a limbo between active duty and permanent discharge. J1 Park had become a ghost within this system. His medical records showed him as missing in action, presumed dead. Each day blended into another: meals at precise intervals, minimal exercise, limited communication. The camp's routine was designed to break the spirit of those who remained. His body bore the marks of his previous battlefield experience. Scars crisscrossed his arms, a testament to the blood transfusion that had saved an alien life. Medical staff occasionally ran tests, confused by unusual cellular adaptations in his blood work. Something had changed during that moment of desperate survival. In a small observation room, hidden from J1's view, researchers studied his medical files. Blood samples showed strange mutations. Hybrid cellular structures that defied standard human biological understanding. They knew something significant had happened during his encounter with the alien girl, but they couldn't explain exactly what. Meanwhile, on a distant medical facility, Hannah recovered. The blood transfusion from J1 had done more than save her life, it had fundamentally altered her biological structure. Her people's advanced medical technology worked to understand these changes, mapping the unexpected genetic interactions. Her species had complex biological rules. A life-saving act was more than a simple medical procedure, it was a profound cultural exchange. In their society, someone who saves a life becomes deeply connected to the rescued individual. Blood was not just a liquid, but a carrier of essence, of promise, of unspoken commitment. J1 knew nothing of these cultural nuances. To him, he had simply done what any decent soldier might do. Tried to save a life in the middle of a brutal conflict. The detention camp's routine continued. Surveillance cameras watched J1's every move. His daily schedule was mechanical: wake up, eat, exercise, rest. No communication with the outside world. No updates about his previous unit. No information about the war that had separated him from everything he knew. But something was brewing beneath the surface. Hannah's people had begun tracking his location. Their advanced tracking systems could detect the unique cellular signature created by the blood transfusion. Where human technology failed, their sophisticated biological scanners succeeded. Her mission was clear: find the human who had saved her life. In the detention camp, J1 had almost lost hope. Almost forgotten what it meant to feel connected to something larger than his current existence. He would look out through small reinforced windows, watching the distant horizon, wondering if anyone remembered he was still alive. Little did he know that across vast stretches of space, an alien girl was preparing a rescue mission that would change everything. The system that was supposed to contain him was about to be challenged in ways no one could predict. A single act of compassion on a distant battlefield was about to ripple across civilizations, transforming from a moment of survival into something much larger, a bridge between two entirely different species, connected by an unexpected and profound link. J1 Park waited, unaware that his story was far from over. The most important chapter was just beginning. Hannah's medical vessel moved silently through the dark expanse of space. Its technology was generations ahead of human engineering, a sleek, almost living machine that responded to her biological commands like an extension of her own body. The ship's neural interface pulsed with her determination, tracking the unique cellular signature left by J1's blood. Her people called this a sacred mission. Not a rescue. Not a military operation. But a profound cultural obligation. Months of preparation had led to this moment. Advanced scanning systems had narrowed down potential locations across multiple star systems. Each scan required immense computational power, searching for the faintest trace of genetic markers that connected her to the human soldier. Military databases were nothing more than primitive puzzles to her species' technological capabilities. Firewalls, encryption, security protocols, these were child's play for her ship's advanced systems. Information flowed like water, revealing the hidden locations of human detention facilities. The detention camp was located on a forgotten planetary outpost. Rocky terrain. Minimal infrastructure. Perfect for holding individuals the military wanted to keep hidden from public view. Hannah understood human bureaucracy better than most of her species. Humans created complex systems to hide their most sensitive secrets. But secrets, she knew, were always vulnerable to those with the right technology and motivation. Her ship's external appearance could shift and adapt. One moment, it looked like standard human cargo transport. The next, it became invisible against the starry background. Adaptive camouflage was more than technology, it was an art form for her civilization. As she approached the detention facility, multiple scanning waves spread out. Electronic systems began to glitch. Security protocols started failing in cascading sequences. No alarms would sound. No warnings would be triggered. Inside the camp, Jaewon would not know what was happening. He would simply experience a moment of unexpected opportunity. The rescue would be precise, calculated, almost surgical in its execution. Hannah's mission was not just about saving one individual. It was about honoring a profound biological and cultural commitment. In her society, a life-saving act created an unbreakable bond. Jaewon's blood had done more than heal her physical wounds, it had connected their destinies in ways neither could fully understand. Her ship began its final approach. External scanning systems identified Jaewon's exact location within the detention complex. A human would see multiple buildings. She saw a detailed three-dimensional map with heat signatures, electronic networks, and potential movement paths. One human life, surrounded by complex security systems. But to her, he was a beacon of cellular connection, a promise waiting to be fulfilled. The rescue would begin in moments. Humans would later call it impossible. A breach of impossible complexity. A rescue that defied all known military and technological limitations. But for Hannah, it was simply a promise being kept. A debt of life about to be repaid. Her ship's systems hummed with quiet anticipation. The rescue was about to begin. The detention camp looked like a forgotten collection of metal boxes scattered across a gray landscape. Jaewon sat in his small room, counting the cracks on the concrete wall, his only entertainment after months of isolation. His body had changed. Muscles had weakened. Hope had become a distant memory. Each day felt exactly like the last, a blur of monotonous routine and silent waiting. Then everything changed in an instant. The facility's electronic systems suddenly went silent. Lights flickered. Security doors began to malfunction. Something was happening, but Jaewon had no idea what. A soft humming sound emerged outside. Not mechanical. Something different. Almost biological. The wall beside him simply dissolved. No explosion. No violent breach. Just a smooth opening that appeared like magic. Standing there was a figure he remembered from a distant battlefield, the alien girl he had saved. Hannah looked different. Her body seemed more refined, her movements more precise. She wore no traditional spacesuit. Instead, her skin itself seemed to adapt to the environment, shifting colors and textures like living camouflage. "You saved my life," she said in perfect human language. "Now I'm returning the favor." Jaewon couldn't speak. Months of isolation had stolen his voice. He simply stared, wondering if this was another hallucination born from endless lonely days. She approached him slowly. Her eyes, those same silvery eyes from the battlefield, studied him carefully. Medical scanners invisible to human perception were already analyzing his physical condition. "You are weak," Hannah stated. Not as an insult. Just a clinical observation. Her hand touched his forehead. Instantly, Jaewon felt energy flowing through his body. Muscles that had atrophied began to regenerate. Cellular damage from months of limited movement started reversing. The detention facility's alarm systems remained mysteriously silent. No guards appeared. No security protocols activated. It was as if the entire complex had been temporarily erased from existence. "My people do not forget," Hannah explained, sensing his unspoken questions. "A life saved is a life connected. You are now part of my biological network." Jaewon finally found his voice. How did you find me?" A slight smile crossed her alien features. "Your blood told me where to look." The implications of her statement hung in the air. This was more than a rescue. More than a military extraction. This was something profound, a connection that transcended species, biology, and understanding. Outside the dissolved wall, her ship waited. Not a typical spacecraft, but something that seemed almost alive. Its surfaces shifted and changed, adapting to the environment like a living organism. "We must go," Hannah said simply. "Your previous life is over. A new journey begins." J1 looked around his small room. Months of captivity. Years of military service. Everything he knew was contained in these few square meters. And now, suddenly, everything was about to change. He stood up. His body, recently restored by Hannah's mysterious biological technologies, felt stronger than ever. No questions. No resistance. Just acceptance. Sometimes, survival means being ready to leave everything behind. As they walked toward the living ship, J1 realized his life would never be the same. A chance encounter on a distant battlefield had transformed into something much larger. A rescue. A connection. A new beginning. The detention camp remained silent behind them. Soon, it would be as if J1 had never existed in this place. His real journey was just beginning. 2 years after the unexpected rescue, J1 and Hannah became something more than just survivors. They became bridges between two civilizations that had known only conflict. The Galactic Diplomatic Council had never seen anything like them. A human soldier and an alien medical specialist, standing together, representing a new possibility of understanding. Their story spread across multiple star systems, a tale of how a single act of compassion could transform interstellar relations. Hannah's people had remarkable medical technologies that could heal almost any injury. J1's human adaptability combined with her species' advanced biological knowledge created unprecedented research opportunities. Together, they developed medical protocols that could save lives across different species. Military leaders who once saw aliens as pure enemies now listened carefully. The constant war that had defined human-alien relations for decades suddenly seemed less inevitable. J1 would explain how life could be more than constant conflict, using his own story as proof. Their research center was located on a neutral planetary station, designed to be a meeting point between different civilizations. Massive transparent walls allowed visitors to see star systems and planetary movements. Inside, scientists from multiple species worked together, something that would have been impossible just a few years earlier. J1 discovered that his blood transfusion had done more than save Hannah. It had created a biological connection that allowed limited communication between their species. Genetic markers introduced during that battlefield moment created a unique hybrid understanding. Hannah's people recognized this as a sacred biological exchange. In their culture, sharing life fluids meant creating a permanent connection. What humans saw as a simple medical procedure, her civilization viewed as a profound spiritual and genetic commitment. Diplomatic meetings became more than formal discussions. They became conversations about understanding, about recognizing the potential in difference. J1 and Hannah represented living proof that connections could exist beyond traditional boundaries. Their research showed remarkable findings. The cellular adaptations caused by their unique blood exchange suggested that different species could be more compatible than anyone had previously imagined. Medical journals across multiple civilizations published their groundbreaking work. Military leaders who once planned invasions now requested their consultation. Political representatives sought their insights into cross-species communication. What had started as a desperate act of survival on a distant battlefield had transformed into a movement of understanding. J1 sometimes reflected on that moment when he found the wounded alien girl. He had acted on pure human instinct, the desire to help someone in desperate need. He could never have imagined how that single moment would change everything. Hannah understood human emotions better than anyone in her species. Through their connection, she learned compassion, spontaneity, and the complex emotional landscape that defined human experience. Her people began to see humans not as potential enemies, but as potential partners. Their joint research center became a symbol of hope. Young scientists from multiple species trained together, learned together, dreamed together. The walls that had separated civilizations began to crumble, replaced by curiosity and mutual respect. During one critical diplomatic conference, J1 would share their story. How a wounded soldier and an injured alien discovered something more powerful than war. How a simple act of saving a life could create connections stronger than any conflict. The galaxy was changing. And it all started with a single moment of unexpected compassion. As stars moved outside their research station's massive windows, J1 and Hannah continued their work. Two beings from different worlds, united by a connection that defied traditional understanding. Proof that life could always find a way to connect. That boundaries were often just waiting to be reimagined. Their story was far from over. It was just beginning.